Good afternoon, Pedro. Now I'm going to make the continuation of the presentation that Lisa just left. Basically, what I'm going to talk about is the cash flow statement analysis and the statement of financial position analysis. Both financial accounting tools works for analysis in this case. Now, as we know, Alicorp is a big company with subsidiaries all around the world. The thing is that when a company has this structure and is so big, they need to start asking for money, for loans, and start investing. Now, a conclusion that it was seen in this case is that sometimes what Alicorp does is to ask for a loan, invest in fixed assets, and after investing in fixed assets, they start paying for the loans. So the cycle is this way. They have big sales, big amounts of sales, ask for a loan, and in other periods they start paying the loans and the interests, even though they have good sales, in order to buy fixed assets. Because what they want to do is to have more productivity. Because at the end, as it's a big company and it works like a machine, they need more machinery in order to produce and standardize their products. Now, what's about cash flow statements is that, first of all, in 2015, what we can appreciate is that Alicorp started having good sales. That means they have liquidity. However, what they do is to start investing in fixed assets so they can have more productivity because of the new machinery, and apart from that, they start paying the loans. So that means that even though they bought fixed assets, they are also investing, they're also repaying the interest and a fraction of the loan they asked for. Now, this is the first period. However, there's another transition between 2016 and 2017. What happens here is that, as you can see, Alicorp start having a smaller cash flow statement in net operating activities, which means that the collection of money was not as efficient as it was before. However, thing is that they start investing in fixed assets so they can have more productivity, and at the same time they start paying for the loans they ask for. So they start asking for a big loan. So as they ask for a big loan, they start investing in the fixed assets so they can have more productivity. So you can see the change between 2015 and in 2016-17 in that transition, in which in the first part, you can see that Alicorp start paying loans, but in the other one, ask for a loan in order to have more productivity and invest in fixed assets. That's the sequence. So what happened is, in the cash flow statement, is that between these years, Alicorp have this sequence in which they ask for a loan, and then they pay the loan, and they ask for another loan, always linked to purchase new fixed assets to have more productivity and have a better efficiency in what is sales. Now, this is the first part of the analysis. As explained before, the problem here is that the leverage that the bank or the equity or the shareholders can have above the company is very important when you start talking about financing. Because when a bank start borrowing so much money to a company, it means that they have the leverage above the company. However, if they don't have so much money for a company and shareholders start to give money, that's the thing that makes sometimes have more leverage shareholders than to banks. Now, this is the first part of cash flow statements. That means that always Alicorp has enough liquidity to meet its short-term debts and long-term debts sometimes. But in short-term debts, Alicorp is always capable to do it. Now, once we have seen the cash flow statement, and as you can appreciate here, is about the net cash flow from operating activities and here from investing activities. And as you can see, all the transitions during the year. Now, what we're going to start analyzing is the statement of financial position. Now, the statement of financial position is a very important financial tool which actually tells you how sustainable can be a company throughout the years. Thing is here that, as you can see, in 2015, the total assets were almost 6,213,000 soles. In 2016, it was 6,134,000 soles, and in 2017 it was 7,140,000 soles. That means that in 2015, total assets started with this amount, then it had a decay, and then it has a big growth. As you can see the numbers here, and you can appreciate them, assets start going down, and that happens because they decrease in inventories. Okay, once they decrease in inventories, they start having more sales because that means that they start selling more. And you can see that in the income statement. Now, they do this in order to pay their short-term liabilities with suppliers, because what they want to do is to pay is to make the payment of the paid trayables. So yes, so once this happened with Alicorp is that they start having money, they lose inventory. However, with this loss of inventory, they start selling more, and what they do is to pay all the debts to the suppliers. But it's actually what they need to do. Now, what you can also see, you can also appreciate is total assets and total liabilities. I'm explaining year by year. However, the financial statements, they also show the years, but not all the accounts. Now, there's also, this is a transition here. So to sum up, in the transition from 2015 to 2016, what we can see is that sales grew a lot due to the fact that inventories start decreasing because they start doing more sales. However, this was made just for paying the short-term liabilities. Now, as you can see in 2017, and you can see that, as I explained before, which were the total assets and the total liabilities, which are now the important ones, is that the total assets increases because cash has an incredible increase. It's almost about 1 million. Wait, it's almost about yes, 1 million. So it means that liquidity is on top. However, as we can see here, is that trade payables also start increasing. But what happens here? Sales goes up due to the fact that they are capable to start collecting the money. So sales goes up. The thing is that when you have more sales, you start asking for a supplier more money. So more, you start asking for a supplier more products. So you start purchasing more. So that means that you got more paid trayables, but at the same time you start selling more. So in the balance, finally what you're going to have is big sales, but also the purchases you've made are going to be big. So that is why, as we can see here, in the total liabilities, we can see that there's an increase in the last year. So, as we can see, as a conclusion in this part of the financial statement analysis and cash flow statement analysis is that Alicorp is a company that has these cycles in which they invest, they do not invest, to have fixed assets in order to have more productivity and to start selling more. But sometimes this does not work as idoneous or utopian as it seems, because when they start doing this sequence, they start having more paid trayables that they have to do to their suppliers. So it works this way. Alicorp always buys fixed assets to have more productivity, but they start asking for loans, and they also have to make more paid trayables at the end of the day. So just to sum up, Alicorp is a big company. It's always going to make this kind of cycles because of the nature of the company per se.